Hi guys, and welcome back to Machinery Nation. Yes, in this video I'm going to explain the differences between all the ride-on mower types on the market, be it mini riders, rear Clek tractors, articulated front cutters, zero turns and side discharge mulch. So stay tuned and we'll find the right machine for you. So there is three different cutting techniques when it comes to ride-on tractors. You've got mulch. Mulch is the principle where you'll cut up the grass into finer clippings. Theory behind that is your cutting deck is enclosed, so the grass can't escape till it gets to a certain size, and it acts as a natural fertilizer. You don't then need to obviously have a compost heap to get rid of your clippings. Your second option is rear discharge. Rear discharge, like the tractors down the bottom there, that is where you're taking the nutrients and all the grass off the ground. You can cut a little bit lower with it, and obviously it gives you a really nice finish. Your third option is side discharge. Side discharge or mulch is a combination, which basically side discharging is where you've got long grass areas that you want to clear out very quickly, so a paddock or anything like that, that would be the best option for you. So in this video we're going to explain the difference between all three and the four different mower types. We're going to move on to the rear Clek tractors first. So we've broken down our ride-on lawnmowers into four categories, and in at number one we've got the rear Clek and mini rider tractors. Now this is what everyone sees as your conventional garden tractor. So you've got a grass box on the back to collect clippings, you've got your engine on the front or underneath the seat, it's got a steering wheel and it's easy to maneuver and use. Like any machine on the market, each model has its pros and cons. One of the positives with a rear Clek tractor is you are collecting the clippings off the grass. So if you wanted to cut the grass shorter, then it will give you a really nice fine finish. You can then use those clippings in a compost heap. But the negative to that, if you haven't got anywhere to dump your grass, any compost bins or anything like that, you're going to have an unsightly compost heap, or you're going to have to basically use a green bin and recycle your clippings. These are fairly universal, so you've got a collection box on the back of both of these. You can mulch with them if you wish. You can also put rear discharge chutes on the back, so if you are cutting slightly longer grass than usual, but you didn't want to collect the grass because it was going to put so much strain or a lot of grass to collect, I would put the rear discharge chute on the back and just drop the clippings out the back. Once it's been down for a couple of days, then you could go over and cut at your normal height. Another positive example is this little mini rider. If you've got quite a compact small garden, maneuverability wise is a key. So you've got a small 32-inch blade on this one. They even do smaller versions down to about 26 inches. So if you're the sort of person that can't cope with a walk behind rotary mower and the garden isn't quite big enough for a large machine like this, then a mini rider will be most suitable for you. But really they do only go up to 50 inches in size. So if you've got a large open area and you want to cut the grass very quickly, then a zero turn or a side discharge is going to be your best option. And I mean, sky's the limit when it comes to size on cutting decks for that. 70, 80 inch, whatever. You know, generally they are bigger machines and they'll cut the grass quicker. Obviously you've got a grass tip box on both. Pull up the handle, tip the box. Now a lot of the mini riders, you have to do that manually. So if you're not strong enough to obviously tip that, then that's going to be an issue. But on a lot of the premium tractors, there is obviously additional extras. You can put an electric tip on a lot of the models, so it makes it a lot easier to tip the grass box. It's also worth noting that these tractors aren't designed to cut long grass. They're not designed to cut paddock grass that's been left for weeks on end. They are regular maintenance tractors, so you want to be cutting the grass at least once every fortnight to make sure you're cutting it down and you're not putting any stress and strain on any cutting deck belts. And that leaves me on now to articulated and zero turn mowers. Right, so moving on to our second option, that is the out front mulching riders. Now in front of me I've got a Husqvarna, one of the bigger, more premium models, the 400 series, with a bigger, larger cutting deck than that we've got on the rear Clek tractors. Now, what are the pros and cons behind riders? Well, basically, you are going to get a fantastic mulch result with one of these tractors. They have a BioClip cutting deck, and a lot of the other brands on the market will have a similar sort of system, whereas the blades are in small little contained units which allow the grass to be clipped up very fine. So it will give you a really nice finish to your lawn. The other option is obviously you've got a lower center of gravity. So unlike the rear Clek tractors, these are designed for more challenging grounds, so you can have all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive options, and you'll feel more comfortable on this. You're not sat high on it, you're sat down nearer the ground. Out front riders are designed for high maneuverability, and this particular model will actually spin on a sixpence. There's different types of turning circles, so there's brands on the market that basically bend in the middle. This particular model actually twists its chassis on the back end, so really good if you've got a garden area which has got loads of twists and turns, or a lot of obstacles in it. The other swaying point to a lot of ride-on purchases is actually how big the cutting deck is. So you've got a large open area that you want to cut very, very quickly. You're going to want a bigger cutting deck. Well, on this particular model, you've got a 122 centimetre cutting deck, so that it will get the job done very, very quickly. And as you can see, it's an enclosed cutting deck, so safety is absolutely paramount. So if you're using this against any public spaces on the edge of a road or anywhere, you know, you've got delicate objects around the garden like a greenhouse or windows or anything like that, you're not going to have debris flown around the garden. Unlike a side discharge or rear discharge tractor that could potentially chuck stuff out, this is all going to be kept underneath. So now, unfortunately, I've got to tell you the cons of this type of system. So as you can see, it does look more complex, doesn't it? So it's going to give you slightly higher servicing costs. You've got a few more belts on it to drive the gearboxes, the cutting deck and the main blades itself. So obviously bear that in mind. So riders aren't designed to cut long grass. They're not designed to cut paddock or field grass or anything like that. They really are designed to keep a nice formal lawn down. You have to cut more regularly. So unlike a rear discharge tractor, which you could get away cutting perhaps once every fortnight, these tractors which mulch, you really do need to be cutting once a week to keep the finish looking really, really good. But having said that, a lot of the cutting decks have rear baffles in the back. So if the grass did get away from you for a couple of weeks, or for the first couple of cuts of the season, you just want to top off the higher grass, take the baffle out the back, and it will just rear discharge it out the back for you. Mulching is always going to be more difficult with wet grass. So if you've got a garden that lies fairly damp all year round, then potentially mulching is not the right system for you, because the grass will clump up and it won't give you the finish you want. The other thing, obviously, if it is damp, it's going to be putting a lot more stress and strain on belts and blades. So the last thing to bear in mind when you're buying a tractor is how quickly you need to cut the grass. This type of system is always going to be slower than your zero turn or conventional tractor. You have got to go a little bit slower to mulch grass efficiently.
This video is sponsored by Hayes Machinery, suppliers of ATVs, garden machinery, power tools, trailers, whatever you need. Visit their website, hayesmachinery.co.uk. Thank you for watching.
So now we move on to the third option, and that is zero turns. So we have got the lap bar version and the steering wheel, and these are true zero turns where they won't leave any uncut circle of grass. So again, pros and cons for this type of system. I'm going to start with the cons this time, because I think there's a lot more pros that we can talk about. So the first con would basically be the traction on slopes. Now, we've got two different versions here. Fixed steering wheel, absolutely fine. The steering stays straight, you can turn it to whatever angle you want. Because it's a wide wheelbase version, they do track to ground very, very well. So they almost do what a four-wheel drive machine will do. Now, when it comes to a lap bar version, it's a different story. Think of it as a shopping trolley analogy. Because of dolly wheels on the front, they're always trying to pull you downhill. So you can have loads of traction if you go up over, but as soon as you want to turn, the front end is always going to want to pull you downhill again. So if you have got sloping ground, a fixed steering wheel version will be best for you. Although not a negative thing with these two machines, because they can discharge grass out the side, they aren't really used as rough cut mowers. You could use these for paddock grass, absolutely fine, but there's a lot of other zero turns on the market that don't have the option for side discharge and mulch. So if it's just basically a mulching cutting deck, you are going to want to use it on more of a formal lawn. So driving a machine with lap bars is a bit of an art. If you've never driven one before, it might take you a little while to get used to it. But having said that, once you are used to it, the driving is so simple. Forward and back. It acts a little bit like power steering. So it's really, really easy on your arms. Typically, you will spend a little bit more on your zero-turn mower, but having said that, that is because they are designed for more demanding and pro users. So these machines might come at a slightly higher price tag, but there is a heap of positive features with these type of mowers. You have got your speed and ease of use, you know, the lap bar system here. So easy to drive. The steering wheel version, very, very good on slopes and really, really good traction. Wide wheelbase, low centre of gravity, so it will make you feel really, really safe. You've got wider cutting decks and they're generally fabricated, so that means they're high strength. Precision mowing, yeah, that's right. It's going to be so much easier to use in your garden if you've got a lot of obstacles. And last but not least, you know, most of them give you the option to side discharge when the grass is long, or even give you fantastic mulch results by just easily putting a plug in the side. So on this particular model, the Cub Cadet, it's really, really easy to change it from side discharge, cutting longer grass, and putting the mulch plug in to cut it shorter. So last but not least is the fourth option on our list. That is a side discharge tractor. Now this option here comes with a mulch kit as well. So you can cut the longer grass, like paddock grass, chuck it outside and discharge it. But when you get into your more formal garden, you can put the mulch plug on, clip the clippings up and return the nutrients back into the lawn, acting as a natural fertilizer. Things to consider with this type of system of tractor. They are advertised that you can buy collection boxes for the back of them, but they are never designed to collect grass full time. It's okay for occasional collection if you had some leaves down on the ground, and it is very, very light clippings you're blowing into the box. But if you are wanting a tractor to collect grass full time, then go for a rear discharge tractor with a chute underneath the seat. Anything that collects grass going up a pipe up the side is never that great. It will clog and you'll be forever putting your hand down there unblocking it. You're always going to have less maneuverability than that of a zero turn. So if you've got lots of obstacles around your garden, there might be a few backwards and forwards to cut all the grass. And the last thing to bear in mind is if you have got longer grass areas next to driveways or paths or borders or anything like that, and you're not going to mulch, you're going to chuck it out the side, then you are going to get clippings onto your paths, which would mean you have to clear them up. Once you've got it down, obviously put your mulch plug back in and clip it up, and then you won't have that mess. So we've gone through the main 4 types of ride-on mowers on the market, but you're still asking me the question, what is the right machine for your garden? So you've got larger areas that have got longer grass, like a paddock, and you've got formal lawns which you want to mulch and you don't want to collect the clippings. Then the side discharge mulch type of system is the one to go for. So you've got garden or paddock areas which are very, very large. You want to cut the grass fast, you want to mulch, you want to side discharge, you want to cut long grass. You've got sloping areas, then the steering wheel version is for you. If you've got gentle sloping areas, then the lap bar is a version for you. Or if you've got areas around your garden which you need to go in and around obstacles, then the zero turn type of system is the one for you. Now you've got a garden that's undulating or very steep, you need high maneuverability, you've got shrubs and bushes that you want to be able to drive in underneath and cut, then an out front rider is the right machine for you. You can get right underneath, cut, you're going to have a low centre of gravity with an option of all-wheel drive, and it will make you feel very, very safe, and you'll be able to cut all those hard to reach areas. Or you've got several lawn areas in your garden. You want a nice formal lawn, you want to be able to cut the grass really, really low. You're definitely going to want a rear collect tractor. But then you've got the options to being able to mulch and rear discharge. But it isn't designed for long grass like the other tractors on the market. And the breakdown between the 2 rear discharge tractors, if you've got something up to about 3/4 of an acre, then the little mini rider is going to be fantastic for you. High maneuverability, it will collect the grass really, really well. But if you've got a larger garden up to a couple of acres, you're going to want a twin bladed system, something like this Alco T20, that will give you fantastic cut and collect performance and get the job done quick. So hopefully now you know which machine you need for your garden area. Now remember, subscribe to our channel. If you want any videos as well doing, drop us a comment and we'll try and do them for you. Thanks for watching. We are Machinery Nation.